All right, welcome back here. In-game live, all access, off and running another hour here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Ranieri and Donnie Rightside here with you as we're keeping an eye on a couple of crazy games here with a whole lot of runs is what we're looking at. Early games in Major League Baseball. I see the Dodgers have just hit another home run, 8-4 right now on top of Detroit in that one. St. Louis 10-1 in the top of the third in game one of a doubleheader against the Cubs. And of course, the Chicago White Sox with just one hit. But they're very much in this game here, Donnie, a game in which we thought the Pirates would get a few more runs here. They started off well in the first inning, but Chris Flexen has kind of settled down here. We're going to the top of the fourth. It's still only a 1-0 game, but that, I guess, would be the second time through the order coming now for the Pirates against them.
Yeah, it looks like that's actually the middle of the order. I believe it's Palacios up, which I believe is hitting 6th there, so hoping to turn that lineup around one more time. So looking at these games, you got 2 games with a ton of runs, 1 game without many runs at this point right now, but you do have a leadoff base knock here for the Chicago Cubs. Actually, a 1-out base knock here for the Chicago Cubs. Maybe they can get something started there. The Dodgers game, we told you to start this off. Ohtani was a great looking RBI. Freddie Freeman was a good look. Taylor was also a good look, who I didn't bet, who actually already now has an RBI. So 3 of those guys came into the door. The Pirates game, I'm 1-for-4 so far, but obviously a long way to go. If I can pick up 1 more RBI prop in that game, that'll make that one a profitable day. And then I have a couple guys here on the Chicago Cubs rooting on that I have to get one of those 2 to turn that into profitability. But if you're going to have this many runs in these 3 games to start, that might be a good sign for what we have coming up in that 4 o'clock hour, because it is a huge 4 o'clock hour in Major League Baseball. So good start to this game already on, but I do think the Pirates should get more runs here. I thought they would hit their team total of 5. They got to get moseying on down the road now if they want to get that 5 runs.
By the way, top of the third, 10-1, Cardinals on top. In-game number, Donnie, still 17.5. Still 17.5.
I think it goes over
in the top of the third. I'm with you here 100%. Yeah. I don't know what the Cardinals team total is, but it doesn't appear like they are slowing down anytime soon. Don't forget, they had lost 3 in a row coming into this game. Wasn't a great showing last night against, of all people, Kyle Hendricks. They lost 5-1. So, this is a team very much with the Cubs, very much in the race here, even though Milwaukee, I think, was a little undervalued heading into the season. I think everyone just assumed no Corbin Burns and Woodruff. There was all sorts of questions. And, well, they are very much alive in the class of the National League Central, which is a good thing. I think if you're Milwaukee and you're a Milwaukee backer, although they're kind of limping into this as well, Donnie. They haven't been great. I think for the first time, they've lost back-to-back home games. They are one of the few teams with an actual real good home field advantage all season long here. They love hitting in that ballpark, and they dominate in that ballpark there. But it looks like it's regressing a little bit here. They'll have an opportunity to get one back here today, but they too look like a team that might be running out of gas, and you're throwing Dallas Keuchel on the mound. So something has got to give here if you're the Brewers. And I'm okay with it. With what, a 6-game lead? Yes. Could you ask for a better first half?
Yeah, no, you can't. And also, we expect this on a year-to-year basis from the Brewers, right? Usually the MO is we're going to get really good starting pitching. We got a dominant end of the bullpen. Yep. We have Christian Yelich and a bunch of guys. So if we can scrap out 3 to 4 runs a game, we should be able to win. I like the lineup a lot better this year than I have in recent years. Bringing over guys like Rhys Hoskins to sort of power up that lineup made a lot of sense, and it's been working out in their favor. Now, they don't have that superstar frontline pitching, and anytime you're reaching back and saying, you know what? We're first place. We just got to get to the deadline here at this point before we can add on. Hey, what's Dallas Keuchel doing these days? Because the last time we saw Dallas Keuchel, he was atrocious, and he's still not pitching. I still don't know how he's getting guys out right now. You look at his numbers. Like, typically, what are you going to see from him? A left-handed pitcher, which means you're going to face a ton of right-handed bats. How about striking out only 6% 40% of the right-handed batters he's facing, which is usually an MO to get destroyed, because if you're not striking guys out, that means the baseball's in play, and that's a bad thing here. Maybe it runs out today, but when you're looking at that Washington lineup, Lane Thomas should be on your board today for an RBI. Outside of that, nobody. So you're looking at Dallas Keuchel saying, hey, you know what? This is the lineup I probably can pitch around and have some success with, when he should never be able to say that. Every time you see Dallas Keuchel in the lineup, you should be circling like, yep, this is a game that the Washington Nationals should be able to hit. But they don't hit lefties all that well.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think, and not to mention, by the way, Dallas Keuchel, they have won 3 of his games that he has started. They're 3-0 in games he has started, even though he wasn't around for any of the decisions one way or another. But they have handled their business here. I do like this kid Parker too for Washington. Yeah. He did allow, I think, his last start there. He has been pretty good. Doesn't give up a lot of long balls. He's allowed just 2 runs in 7 innings, I believe, on Monday's game against the Cardinals here. So he should be, I think, pretty capable of limiting the damage here by this Milwaukee team that, again, feels like maybe, just maybe, they're feeling it. Look like, hey, we've played really good. We're in where we want to be come the next couple of days. We can get it off. And I believe Devin Williams is slated to come back after the All-Star break. So they don't even have their lockdown closer. He's coming for the second half of the year. And all of a sudden, Milwaukee is very much alive here to be in a conversation, not only obviously to win the division, but can they do any damage, you think, beyond that?
Yeah, it wasn't too far long ago where it was like, you know what, Williams and Hader are the best 1-2 punch in the bullpen in Major League Baseball. And he said, well, why would they get rid of Hader? Number one, Hader was coming up and making a lot of money. Number two, they go, Devin Williams just as good. He can slide right into that closing role, and he goes down with an injury, which was devastating. If he comes back, that's like getting a major trade at the deadline if he does return back to form. So that's something to keep an eye on. When you're talking about Mitchell Parker also, doing the job is basically how you can explain his last 60 days. Yeah. You take a look at those XFIP minus numbers. Now, if anybody doesn't really know what that is, it's the XFIP number, and that minus means let's bring it into a league average here, and we'll take in the ballparks into effect. The reason why it's a good number to use, Joe, is it helps out where it says some players and some teams have advantages. If you pitch in San Francisco, in San Diego, out in Seattle, let's just say you have disadvantages. You pitch in Wrigley, you pitch in Boston, you pitch for the Colorado Rockies. The baseline number is 100. Mitchell Parker's a 99. He's getting the job done here. So that's what you want out of your young rookie pitchers. However, that lineup today listed for the Milwaukee Brewers, they've been solid against left-handed pitching over the past month. We'll see if that plays into. Not a lot of great power numbers, but decent weighted on-base percentages here. But I always just leave it up to this. I'm never going to back Dallas Keuchel. I'm sorry, Joe. Like, Dallas Keuchel in any situation will never get my money, and I'll just leave it at that.
I'm looking too at some of the numbers here. He's got at least 5 strikeouts in his last 4 starts. And I think his number is at 4.5 here, Donnie. And Milwaukee over the last couple of games has struck out 28 times. If that doesn't tell you we're looking at a team that's like, are we on vacation yet? Can we pack it up and leave? That's what it feels like there. So maybe over 4.5 is not a bad situation here for Parker on a Brewers lineup that can certainly score some runs, but they're also certainly not scoring runs and not putting the bat on the ball over the last couple of games here. All right, we got plenty more games to go over coming up here. Top of next hour, 4 o'clock Eastern time. A slew of great MLB games. We'll start breaking those down for you. And a quick look over at the Scottish Open. Ludwig Aberg is your leader. Now here he goes. 54-hole leader, 17 under par. Robert McIntyre, 15 under. Adam Scott is right behind him at 14 under. And Morikawa and Sahith Theegala and Sung Jae Im, and the list goes on, a couple of strokes back. We'll take a look at those odds when we get back here. In-game live, all access on the grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
It is Canada. You know, Canada is one of those teams that's the darling of the tournament right now. They're still 9-1.
To win a tournament, or even to advance far into a tournament like this, you need a bit of good fortune. And it doesn't matter if you're getting the good fortune that Canada has, where they played 2 matches where they were up a man, or you had the good fortune of Argentina, who's one of the best teams in the world, who just got on the good side of the draw.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Like cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What, are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on Sports Grid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, all access here on the Sports Grid Network, and we welcome in our good friend, the coach, JY, James Young, in the house, running around on a Saturday, Coach, so we appreciate you beelining it from the movies right to here with us, my friend. And the talk of the town is what just happened here with looks like Angel Reese. So what happened here? 9 people, I guess, were covering her here at the end of the game. What happened?
Hey, this was the exact opposite of what happened last game, when Tina Charles fouls her with 7 seconds left. I mean, it's really amazing here. Honestly, guys, I don't think the Liberty could have went down this rabbit hole again and let this girl just get the double-double in regards to fouling that late. So kudos to them for getting it done here and really just making it be about respect. Listen, I was talking to Kevin about this. If this was, one of you guys, but if this was a case of like to break the record, I get it. But when you have the record, now you're disrespecting the record if you're going to find ways to go ahead and try and, kind of make it so that this young lady made it. So simply put, fourth quarter, she needed 2 points. Sorry, went 0-2 from the floor, -7, didn't get it done. So you know what? It's a great record, good job, but it seems to me like the Liberty were going to make her earn it. And guess what, guys? She didn't earn it.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's what comes into play at that point, because like it's hard you can't just wake up and get double doubles. Everybody every single year would get double doubles in the WNBA and run on record streaks. So you do give it somewhat credit, but we all see through it, Coach, at times. It's like, now the spirit of the rule and the spirit of the record is what's fun to happen. And even when Russell Westbrook was going back doing those, and then it turns out like, oh yeah, on free throws, like we block everybody out, so if there's any rebound, he always gets that. And you say, well, all right, we see what it is, but you still want to see the records fall. It's just interesting that I'm watching that clip here over the final 30 seconds where she had 4 ladies around her like, you are not getting this double-double. And you're right about it. It's the opposite of what we saw, where it's like one side we're trying to, another side goes, we're actively trying to prevent this for you in a game that was basically out of the balance, by the way, in those final few minutes of that game. Interesting to watch. But, Coach, we got a 3:30 start here Eastern coming up. Los Angeles Sparks and the Dallas Wings. We got to get some knowledge on this. Looking at these live lines, Wings minus 3.5-point favorites here, an under of 171.5. 15 minutes till tip on a Saturday. What can we expect from the Sparks and the Wings?
Well, you should see offense from the Wings. And I want to go back really quick. There's a little bit of a backstory that I don't think people realize with obviously the Sky and the Liberty. Number one, Teresa Weatherspoon was an all-time Liberty great. Number two, do you remember does anybody remember the first preseason game that took place between the Liberty and the Sky? The Sky won by 50 in a preseason game. You don't think those girls from the Liberty, who have a lot of pride, that are chasing a WNBA championship, by the way, did it without Breanna Stewart, one of the best, probably the second best player in the world. They did it without Benajelani Hamilton, who is arguably one of the best 3-and-D players in the WNBA. Oh, and they were down by 7 after the first quarter. Guys, they were pissed off. They weren't letting her get it. And kudos to them, because that's about respect and about earning it. I'm sorry I had to go there. But when you talk about the 3:30 game between the Sparks and the Wings, you have two teams that are really going nowhere. Now, the Wings, you will get them whole a little bit later on. Satu Sabally has been out the entire year. Satu Sabally scored 18 points a game last year, was most improved player in the WNBA. She's out. Maddie Seagrass, the pride of Villanova, had a good start of the year. She's out. But so are the Sparks. Both teams are struggling mightily. Both teams have lost 4 of their last 5. And guys, they don't play a lot of defense. Wings, think about this. Last 4 games, 5 games, they've given up 100, 104, 82, 104, 95. Difference here with the Sparks, 82, 84, 93 in overtime, 82, 92. Neither team good defensively. So if I'm looking at anything, you're going to think, oh, well, here we go. Here comes the over. Here comes the over. No. Here comes the under. Because they're not great offensively. Now, if you want to start looking at players who could score here, obviously you can look at someone, Arike Ogunbowale, but the problem is it's really high. For her to score 25-plus points is sitting at plus 132. So the way you go about it is you start looking at some of the star players. Darica Hamby, one of the best double-double machines, minus 150. It's a lot of juice. I would take a look at Darica to get a double-double. And I like Dallas at home to get it done. Like I said, neither team is really good, but Dallas Wings minus 3 at home, minus 162. I'll take the minus 162. If you want to wait, let the game start. As soon as it goes under 2.5, then jump on in there. But Dallas should get the win at home.
So last night, Coach, I mean, just terrible as I watched it happen. Deron Holmes, the number 22 pick, in which the Denver Nuggets went out of their way to go get him. I mean, this was a kid they were expecting to add a little depth now at the center spot for them. This was exactly the piece they were hoping that they could get, and they got the guy they want, and he blows his Achilles after 20-some-odd minutes. Up dominating, by the way, in the game. You don't have KCP anymore. They're right back to square. On Achilles injury, they're right back to square one. No depth now, Coach.
No depth. Not only that, they lost Bruce Brown last year to free agency. Jeff Green was a vital part of that bench left. And Deron Holmes is someone that was going to be like I was going to say maybe a skinnier version of a Naz Reid. Right? A guy who can play 4-5, stretch the floor, shoot the 3, run the break, really good rebounder. So to them, losing him last night is just another case of why, I don't think, unless there's moves to be made, I don't see how this team comes out of the Western Conference, to be honest with you, because you look at what Minnesota has, obviously what Dallas has, what Oklahoma City, who I think is a favorite, has. Guys, Denver's got to make moves or they're in trouble. Yep. And I don't know where the moves are coming from.
Yep. Dario Saric ain't going to cover it here. They need to figure it out. Coach, Despicable Me on the way. Let's go. In-game live all access.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
It is Canada. Canada is one of those teams that's the darling of the tournament right now. They're still 9-1.
To win a tournament, or even to advance far into a tournament like this, you need a bit of good fortune. And it doesn't matter if you're getting the good fortune that Canada has, where they played 2 matches where they were up a man, or you had the good fortune of Argentina, who's one of the best teams in the world, who just got on the good side of the draw.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on Sports Grid.
All right, welcome back in-game live. We are all access here on the Sports Grid Network. The Cubs have added a run to make it 10-2.
Whoa.
And, oh, yeah, by the way, the Dodgers are not done scoring runs here. They just added a couple of more as Freddie Freeman just keeps racking up the runs in this one. And, of course, we'll have more MLB action coming up top of the hour. The coach, James Young, in the house. And the coach, you were just you had a chance to see how the Liberty defended the Chicago Sky there at the end of the game. And Angel Reese, what were you seeing right there? Is that something you don't often see, you think?
I mean, listen, I'm not knocking anybody that placed bets on this, because we all thought that the girl was going to get a double-double.
Yep.
Folks, there's a defense called a box and one. If you don't know, just imagine it. You have 4 people, each on the elbows, each on the low blocks, and one person chases someone around man-to-man. 4 people win zone. They gave the ball to Angel Reese, and yes, we saw a box and one. We saw 4 defenders on Angel Reese and 1 person that guarded everyone else. And the most brilliant, the most amazing part of the play is this girl threw the ball over her head and got it to half court to a guard. The guard had no idea what to do, because the Liberty kept 2 girls on her, and everyone else was sloughed in. And Angel Reese looked like she looked upset. And this is where this kid's got to learn. And I want to talk to you a little bit for a second, Angel. You have had a great rookie year. You've gotten so much better, but it's attitude and things like that that sends you backwards. Why? You missed a double-double by 2 points. It's not like you got 5 shots. You got 13. You got 13. You play in the lane, and you win 3 of 13 from the floor. You don't believe me? Folks, go look at the shot chart. Look at the shot chart, and you can just turn around and you can just check Angel Reese. And what do you see? You see Angel Reese getting the ball literally in the lane. So don't sit here and tell me about anything else. If you want a double-double, you did not earn it. They took it away from you. and you had 13 shots, you made 3. The reason why you didn't get a double-double had nothing to do with the last possession. You didn't finish. Let's move on to the next game.
By the way, Coach, we like instant reaction, which is why we brought you on at the perfect time. The minute that game ended here, we get to react to see that double-double streak end. But also, if you take a look at the odds for Rookie of the Year, they've really jumped now. Instant reaction there. Caitlin Clark at the FanDuel Sportsbook now, a minus 1050 price to win Rookie of the Year. Angel Reese drops back to a 6-1. Were we just waiting to see if maybe Angel Reese could run the table for the rest of the year with double-doubles to keep her in? Now that that streak has been busted, I guess the bettors also are betting accordingly, going, yep, that was your last chance to have any semblance of winning the Rookie of the Year. It's going to be Caitlin Clark now.
She literally had to keep the streak going, Donnie. And let me just give you one last piece of context so people can understand what I'm talking about here. This is not hate. This is facts, okay? There is something called, we call it the hole. It's the chart circle. Guys, you could go to WNBA and pull up the box score and the shot chart. Guys, she shot the ball. 10 of her 13 shots were inside the chart circle. One of them was right outside of it. Guys, those are layups. She went basically 3 for 11 on layups. She doesn't deserve it. And you're right, Donnie. I just think as she was getting double-doubles, it kept shortening, right? 20 cents, 30 cents. It kept going down, kept going down, kept going down. And then it was fine, but then it also flipped a little bit a week ago today when Caitlin Clark had that humongous performance versus the Liberty and they beat New York. Then it started going the other way. Caitlin Clark's been absolutely fantastic. There's no knock on Angel Reese. She's going to be a hell of a pro, but it's over. I don't want to hear, unless something happens to Caitlin Clark, and no one wants to see that, it's not going to happen. I will say this in closing. Next Saturday, 8:30, WNBA All-Star Game. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Angel Reese on the same team versus the Olympic team. Mark my words, that game will outdraw every game this season, and every Olympic game will be the highest watched game in the history of the WNBA. You watch.
Wow. It's you heard it here. The coach, James Young, should be an interesting next couple of weeks on the court for sure. Coach, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. In-game live all access continues.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
It is Canada. You know, Canada is one of those teams that's the darling of the tournament right now. They're still 9-1.
To win a tournament, or even to advance far into a tournament like this, you need a bit of good fortune. And it doesn't matter if you're getting the good fortune that Canada has, where they played 2 matches where they were up a man, or you had the good fortune of Argentina, who's one of the best teams in the world, who just got on the good side of the draw.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on Sports Grid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, all access. A very happy Saturday to you as we are keeping an eye on the current Major League Baseball games. But we've got a plethora of games getting ready to start here at the top of the hour. Joe Ranieri alongside Donnie right side. And just to get the folks updated here, the Dodgers putting the smackdown on the Tigers here. 9-4 in that one, Dottie. Looks like they're in the 8th inning there. And the White Sox were so close to getting another hit. They have 2 of them on the day here now, but the Pirates just can't seem to get anything going here. Donnie, it's 1-0, end of the 5th in that one, and the Cardinals still remain a 10-2 lead over the Cubs after scoring 9 runs in the bottom of the 1st inning. This is game 1 of a doubleheader. With the second game starting just after this one ends. What are you thinking here, Donnie, with this Pittsburgh game? Should we reevaluate it, or is this thing just a dead under right now? I mean, the White Sox bullpen is, of course, very hittable, and maybe some runs are coming late in this one.
It could be. Like, Flexen has been much better than I thought he would. I thought the Pittsburgh Pirates would be able to win this game. They're up 1-0. I thought they probably would be able to get their 5 runs. They've only got 1. And also, I only have 1 out of 4 RBI guys so far. So I'm hoping that we can extend some of that. And you're right. The good thing about the Pirates is if they do win the game, they're still going to get the full 27 outs. But having said that, sometimes you need a running mate, right? Let's just say the White Sox or the Pirates can put 1 run on the board. 2-run home by the two-run home run by the White Sox. That's 2-2. You get the extra innings. Man on second base to start each one of the top of those innings, each half inning, I should say. That's how you can get those numbers where you can hit maybe 5 runs and get a total. But it's one of those where, let's just say you're betting in game on this one. I need to see something first. You should do it quite a bit where it's like, okay, I'm going to hold off. Even if my price point is a little bit lower, I'm not going to bet the start of the inning with nobody on base, but I'll take a 20-cent deficit for the guy to get a leadoff single and then have some leverage situation pitches for Chris Flexen. We haven't seen it all that much right now. Rowdy Tellez is up at the plate. That's the 4-hole hitter. So 4, 5, and 6 are due up. Neither one of those guys so far in this game have a base hit. And quite frankly, the Pirates, only 4 total base hits here, and the White Sox 2, 6 base hits in the 6th inning. That's not going to get you too many totals, but you still have some time as Rowdy Tellez just lined out the center field. So leadoff runner will not be on in this game. So looks like we are trending to the under in this game between Flexen and Ortiz.
Yeah, but we'll keep you posted if anything new happens here. Let's run through some of these games coming up top of the hour. And let's start with your Philadelphia Phillies, if we could, because what a 3-game sweep of the Dodgers earlier. That was fantastic. And then they follow it up with a horrific 6-2 beatdown last night to the Athletics here. So they're going to look to bounce back here today. And listen, there's no reason why we don't think they can or will, or though they got Tyler Phillips getting the ball here in this one today. How much confidence do you have in them, no matter who they throw out there, that they'll put enough runs on the board to win this game here today?
It should just be pedigree wins. Should have been a pedigree win yesterday. I don't care that Ranger Suarez was struggling coming in. What were we saying to ourselves? Well, just give me an average performance and we should be just fine. A lot of 2-out base hits with runners in scoring position for the Oakland Athletics and not the Philadelphia Phillies. That's what did them in. So if we're looking just by team, talking to Tom Vecchio earlier, yes, the Phillies should win this game easy. That's not always the case here. And also, when you're bringing up a kid from the minor league system and only has a couple batters under his belt, let's just say, in the major leagues, it's not as if you're bringing up the guy like, hey, it's a guy like Paul Skeens coming up. Watch out. He's got a pitch cap of 85, but we're looking at 7-8 strikeouts in those 5 innings. He's our flamethrower. That's not the case here. If you look at his minor league statistics, they're average at best. xFIP numbers in the 4s. So it's not as if you're getting the top line guys out of the Phillies, farm system, which this guy is not. So it does leave a little bit to be desired. But again, there's different ways to attack games. We always talk about back in the old days, Joe, like when we started gambling in our, teens and 20s. Hey, what are you going to bet tonight? Well, you have the side and you have the total, and that's it. There's so many other ways you can get involved. You don't want to take the Phillies at a 2-1 price, or maybe you don't want to take the game total because you're not sure of either one of these pitchers. The one thing I do agree with what Tom said was, you're looking at Mitch Spence on the mound. He's your average major league pitcher here for the Athletics. You're in Philadelphia. You're not in Oakland, which is the true pitcher's ballpark. It's 90-degree temperatures in Philadelphia once again today with the wind blowing out. He struggles against lefties. So paint by numbers here with me, Joe. It's Schwarber, it's Harper. That's where you're looking for RBI opportunities. The Phillies should be able to hit today. The only question for me is, I really don't know what I'm getting out of the Phillies pitcher today starting.
Right. Yeah, and that's the problem. But it was very interesting. It was such an anomaly last night, given the fact that the A's, who are actually shooting for their third win in 4 games now. Yeah. It was also just their 14th win on the road out of 49 games this year. It doesn't happen often. And why? I mean, for the life of me, I watched this kid play last night. You mentioned how bad Philadelphia was with getting those hits with runners in scoring position. The A's were 4 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Yes. So they did exactly what they needed to do. But how does this kid, Rooker, for the A's, batting .281, 18 homers, 56 RBIs. How is he not your all-star? Like, you got to be kidding me. This kid is absolutely mashing the ball.
Who made the all-star team for Oakland, by the way?
The closer, Miller did.
Yeah. How many games did he close out? Like 5?
Exactly.
I mean, how many times did he have to leave in the ninth inning at that point? Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So we'll see how. But
this kid, Brent Rooker, is crazy.
Yeah, he actually comes into the game, too, against right-handed pitching over the past 30 days. Really good numbers at .358 weighted on base percentage. The one thing we do know is they strike out a lot in that lineup, but last night they were making contact. And if you're going to tell me before the game, hey, this team's going to go 50% with runners in scoring position, you're signing that all day. What are we used to? 30%, 25%. Hey, they went 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. So we'll see it. But again, the one thing you have on your side, if we're looking at both sides here, questionable pitchers on the mound, and a very hot day in Philadelphia. Usually just lean towards an over at that point, which you're seeing very good temperatures as we're watching these games already underway in the afternoon. 2 of them already over, 1 struggling. But, hey, you win 2 out of every 3 bets. You're on a roll, pal.
Yeah, minus 120 run in the first inning. I have no problem with that. 5.5 at plus money for the Phillies, Donnie. Is their team total. I've got no problem at plus money expecting 6 runs out of the Phillies against Mitch Spence and company here. And you're right, because I do think there are going to be a few guys in that Phillies lineup that are going to get a few RBIs when it's all said and done here. We also have a game coming up between the Guardians and the Rays. And don't look now, the Rays have finally maybe figured some things out. And they got Shane Baz back. Taj Bradley last night handled business. And could it be that we've stuck a fork too early in the Rays? Because the Guardians were shut out for just the second time now in 5 games. They got a 7-game road trip here. It has not been great for them lately. So maybe a little regression here for the Guardians. And I got no problem looking at the Rays in this one here. What about you?
Yeah, another young pitcher on the mound that you're trusting in a tough scenario on the road, going up against a quality opponent now in the Rays. So let's take a look at the Rays. You look at Zach Littell, and sometimes, Joe, it's what your eyes are seeing, and also do you trust the analytical numbers of what we anticipate? You take a look at Littell on the mound. Last 30 days, it hasn't been good. ISO power number against, 267. That's elevated. Weighted on base percentage, 417. That's like double what you're supposed to have. But then if you take a look at his splits, which are so important now that we're halfway through the season, he's actually been decent at home. 53 innings pitched at home. His ERA, 3.57. xFIP number, 3.59. Very manageable. I'm not going to be surprised when the Tampa Bay Rays win again today against the sliding Guardians.
Yeah. I mean, just like that, Guardians lost 3 straight, 4 of their last 5, and the bats have gone cold here a little bit. And I kind of like a little here in this spot for a Tampa team that has got some starting pitching again. Maybe they can get some bullpen help here at the break, but those starting pitchers with Taj Bradley and Shane Baz and company, getting the job done here for Tampa. All right, we've got an update across the board in Major League Baseball. We'll get you caught up next here on The Grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
It is Canada. You know, Canada is one of those teams that's the darling of the tournament right now. They're still 9-1.
To win a tournament, or even to advance far into a tournament like this, you need a bit of good fortune. And it doesn't matter if you're getting the good fortune that Canada has, where they played 2 matches where they were up a man, or you had the good fortune of Argentina, who's one of the best teams in the world, who just got on the good side of the draw.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Like cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on Sports Grid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, all access here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Ranieri and Donnie right side as we're getting ready for a bunch of 4 o'clock Eastern time starts here, going over a few of these games. And let's talk about another interesting one here at Fenway today with the Kansas City Royals, Donnie, looking to continue, really, right? The Royals looking for what, their 5th straight win here today against Boston. They hammered Criswell early and often yesterday as Bobby Witt Jr. proving once again maybe that's the best money Kansas City has spent in a very long time to lock that kid up. He is an absolute stud here. They do have Seth Lugo on the mound here, which got to make you feel pretty good in this situation, but anything can happen at Fenway. I want to look at the over, but what are you thinking in this one here? 8.5 is the total.
Yeah, here's the tough part again. We just talked about a ball game in Philadelphia, right? And you say to yourself, okay, Hitters Ballpark, what's the weather conditions? It's fabulous in Philadelphia. It's equally as fabulous in Boston. So when I tell you, Joe, Fenway Park is going to have 85 degrees at first pitch and double-digit winds blowing out, it's really hard, I don't care who's pitching, to try to keep the ball in the ballpark. Now, having said that, Seth Lugo really has been a revelation for most of the season for Kansas City. If you take a look at his road splits alone, he comes in at 66 2/3 innings pitched, an ERA 2.03 on the road. Now, his xFIP number is a little bit high at 3.69, but 3.69 is a very good xFIP number. And also, take that counterpunch. Cutter Crawford, young pitcher, struggling at times, pitching well at times. Last 30 days, he has struggled with right-handed batters, which you know about one of those right-handed batters in that lineup, Bobby Witt Jr., who is mashing right-handed pitching over the past 30 days, over the past 60 days, over the first half of the season. Take your pick here. The one thing I do like about the Royals in this game, if we're looking at that lineup, Witt, Pasquantino, Perez, Renfroe, Melendez, and Fermin all have elevated ISO power numbers over the past 30 days against right-handed pitching. That should help. If we flip it over to Boston's side, going up against Seth Lugo, I love that lineup. I think it's fantastic. And they do a lot of damage from the left-hand side. But Seth Lugo is a right-handed pitcher. So, Joe, you might say, like, hey, you know what? Perfect. Left-handed batters going against right-handed pitchers. That's where he struggles. That's not the case here. Look at on the season. In 085, ISO power number against lefties and a 271 weighted on base percentage. If you just want to isolate the past 30 days, he's faced 70 left-handed batters in 048 ISO and a 226 weighted on base percentage. I think I have the better lineup, and I think I have the better pitcher on the mound here in Boston. Now, granted, they are on the road, still a young team learning how to win. Weather conditions are hot. We'll see if Lugo can hang out. But if we're just looking at numbers, maybe it's worth a flyer there on Kansas City today.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am absolutely with you here. And by the way, I believe that win last night makes the Kansas City Royals tied with the Boston Red Sox for that wild card spot.
That?
So just like that, these two teams have a little something going on here to play for, and both teams are hoping. Well, are both teams playing above their heads right now? Are both teams looking to regress? Lugo has been rumored to be the starter in the All-Star game. I mean, what's he got? 11 wins in the first half of the season. He has been lights out. Reagan's last night was fantastic. Lugo has been around the block here, so, Fenway is not going to bother him in the least bit. So I think that's going to be a big game, a fun game that is coming up here also at the top of the hour. And we mentioned it. We talked about it earlier in the show here, but what are we going to do pick-wise with the Yankees in Baltimore here? Are you back in Baltimore to bounce back? Should we be looking run-wise here, totals? What are you thinking?
Yeah, here's the tough part about it, too, because, again, this is a division rivalry game that's heated up. You have one team going in the run. And it's not as if the Yankees are playing great baseball here, right, Joe? They're not. It's like, hey, complete switch in direction. No, they just have picked up a win against Tampa Bay. Now they got a win against Baltimore. But it seems like Baltimore hasn't won in 3 weeks the way it's breaking down. I'm just nervous about this because, sometimes you just have to ride out streaks. If you could tell me today that, okay, we're going to get a normal effort out of Baltimore at the plate, you would love that because they haven't been normal over the past couple of days. Their numbers still stack up well. Luis Gil is fantastic to start the season. A little bit of a bumpy road. Looks like he got back to where he needs to be. But if we're just being honest, against left-handed batters and in totality, his last 102 batters he's faced, if we combine lefty and righties for Luis Gil, a 238 ISO and a 392 weighted on base percentage. That lineup today, 7 out of 9 batters on Baltimore, even though the past 3 games they haven't hit, you can't just say, okay, a game is made in 3 seasons. Over the last 30 days, they've done very well against right-handed pitching. So I expect them to bounce back. And Grayson Rodriguez is a decent pitcher. Young guy still trying to make his way around. He struggles against right-handed batters, which Aaron Judge finally getting up there, getting some things done as of late. That home run streak finally broken through, but they don't have enough great right-handed batters to sort of carry the day. And the reason why I bring that up is Verdugo, Soto, Ben Rice, some of the guys you're going to have to lean on, they're left-handed batters. How has Grayson Rodriguez done against left-handed batters over the past 30 days? Absolutely stellar, Joe. 048 ISO, 225 weighted on base percentage. Honestly, I think you have to back Baltimore in this game. And you see that price, like, ooh, let me just take the Yankees at plus money. I think Baltimore's the better side today.
I'm with you here. I mean, even in I'm thinking about grabbing the half a run with the Yankees in the first 5 because, let's face it, anything is possible here with these 2 teams. But this is a game in which it would not shock me at all if Gil. I don't trust the Yankees bullpen, although they've gotten a little bit better over the last couple. Still don't trust what they have done, and they, I think, are a big reason also why they've won 6 times in the last 21 games. They've been gassed. The starting pitching collapsed. The bullpen has thrown way too many innings here, and this is exactly what you have gotten. So it wouldn't also shock me if this is maybe on the lower scoring side. 4.5 is the first 5 total. Wouldn't shock me if we get under that, and this isn't a wild 11-9 kind of game. So this one's going to be interesting coming up. How do they react after an interesting game and benches clearing situation last night? That game also coming up here in just about 10 minutes. And when we come back, we have an update with Pittsburgh and the White Sox here. We'll get you caught up with that as we'll wrap up this edition of In Game Live All Access next here on The Grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
It is Canada. You know, Canada is one of those teams that's the darling of the tournament right now. They're still 9-1.
To win a tournament, or even to advance far into a tournament like this, you need a bit of good fortune. And it doesn't matter if you're getting the good fortune that Canada has, where they played 2 matches where they were up a man, or you had the good fortune of Argentina, who's one of the best teams in the world, who just got on the good side of the draw.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In Game Live, prime time, only on Sports Grid.
So I got to tell you, I'm watching the American Century Open here in Lake Tahoe, which is the event where you get the PGA Tour guys hanging out with the the other sport stars here. And I got to tell you, from a side angle here, Barkley looks a lot like Grimace. I don't know what kind of shape he is right now, but how that man is even walking 18 holes is beyond me. And there's Josh Allen also on the telecast. Well, Josh, you better be getting on the same page with your new wide receiver here, because the honeymoon is about to be over in Buffalo, Donnie. If they don't start seeing some results rather quickly, to say the least here. We do have an update. The White Sox have tied the game. The bullpen is now in. It's still 1-1 in the top of the 7th. Tanner Banks is in for the Sox. And we also have more runs in the Dodgers game against the Tigers. They're in the bottom of the 9th, Donnie. It's 9-6 now, as Detroit will not go away. What are we doing in this one? Oh,
I mean, it looks like what are we headed for? An absolute collapse in the bottom of the 9th inning. And by the way, we talked about in this game, entering into it, who was actually batting and who was going to dominate. Riley Green, 3 of 4 in this game. Absolutely impressive.
Yep.
And some of those guys are coming. It seems like that team is Andy Ibanez, Matt Vierling, and mostly Riley Green, and all of those guys doing a lot of damage today. It would be fun. Give me one more base knock here to 9-7 with nobody out. That would be fun to watch you play in, where now you're bringing the actual batter who could tie the game up into the batter's box.
Yeah, they went to the bullpen here now. Phillips in for the Dodgers, facing Green, and that game is far from over just yet. All right, a couple of these late games are interesting tonight, Donnie. I can't figure out Joe Ryan in Minnesota. How they played that terrible last night against the Giants, just absolutely no excuse here. They do have, I believe, S. Woods Richardson on the mound here tonight, going up against another rookie that the Giants are throwing out there. But what Birdsong, Twins, they should win this game here. But what are you thinking about this one tonight?
Yeah, you're right about that, because yesterday, if you were handicapping that card, you were circling that game yesterday for the Minnesota Twins. I got the better pitcher on the mound, and look at the way my batters line up against this pitcher. It didn't work out. And again, it's baseball. There's a lot of games during the season. Everything doesn't work out every single day. But that was a game they were supposed to win. But which way do you jump back on? Because I'm looking at two average pitchers at best on the mound. You look at the lineup today, first six batters that we anticipate: Soler, Wade, Ramos, Bailey, Chapman, and Conforto, all high ISO power numbers over the past 30 days against right-handed pitching. And you're going to get that today. Birdsong's on the mound. He hasn't faced all that many people, and the people that he's faced here, a 222 ISO and a 370 weighted on base percentage. And that lineup for the Twins is still strong. Whenever I see a situation where it's a coin flip and you're basically looking at the line as is, I say two younger pitchers on the mound here, two lineups that match up decently. You can't go under, so I would go over in this spot. True Pitchers Ballpark, I'm still going over.
Yeah, no, I'm with you here, and I do think they should be able to get it done here tonight, like they should have done last night. Atlanta taking on the Padres, and once again, Marcell Ozuna, the Braves bats, showed up last night here. They ended up getting that win. It was a chance. It was supposed to be Vasquez last night. They went with Waldron. That didn't work out all that well. What are we thinking we're going to get in game 2 of this set?
Yeah, but Dylan Cease had a really good run, but correct me if I'm wrong, I think got busted up in his last start, which I thought he was going to do well. His analytical numbers are very good, but his weighted on base percentages against and ISO power numbers over the past 30 days are elevated. But also, I like the best reincarnation I've ever seen is Reynaldo Lopez. One of those guys, every start for the White Sox was a circle, not to bet him, but to fade him, because all he does is give up fly balls and home runs. He's turned into Cy Young. So I look at this and say, another low-scoring game that we might anticipate? Who's going to go against Reynaldo Lopez and the Atlanta Braves? Not me today, Joe.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, Dylan Cease, to your point, though, last game pitched a 9-1 loss to the Diamondbacks, gave up 3 runs, 5 hits, and a walk in 7. But he's only 2-6 in his last 8 decisions here. So the Padres are going to need to get better from him in order to get that done. And a side note, by the way, Chris Sale not pitching in the All-Star game. He's been dealing with a back issue, so they're hoping this little extra rest will help him and Atlanta afterwards. And that does it, Donnie. I can't believe it. We made it through. In-game live, all access. In-game live, prime time. Joe Madden, Scotty Wetzel is coming up next. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you again soon.